Welcome and let your journey to soul expansion begin. I'm your host, Kristen Kaczynski. This show will take you on a journey of expansion, encouraging you to release the limitations of your mind and lean into the wisdom of your soul. Remembering who you are on a soul level will help you release your conditioning, expectations, limiting beliefs, fears, and worries, and evoke a life expanded by your energetic alignment. Whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to grow your income and impact, or someone who knows in your heart of hearts that you're made for more, this podcast will help you awaken the power that's already inside of you, allowing you to attract an easy flow of money, clients, opportunities, and fulfillment. In each episode, you'll learn something new, expand your consciousness, and you'll walk away with a glimpse of what's truly possible for you. If you're ready to follow your soul's calling and live a more expansive life, you're in the right place. Welcome, and let your journey to soul expansion begin. Masculine and feminine energy. What the hell does all of this mean? I remember when I first started learning about the different energies in our system and learning about how the masculine operates versus how the feminine operates, I kind of felt attacked, to be honest, because I was very much in the wounded version of both the masculine and the feminine, and not the divine version, not the embodied version, not the version that is operating in alignment. And so what does it mean to be in your wounded masculine or to be in your wounded feminine? And how do you shift out of that into a beautiful balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies to not only grow your business, but also to expand your life and to experience more joy, more pleasure, more fun, more possibilities in your life that you otherwise would not be able to experience if you were staying stuck in that deep woundedness with these energies? We're going to talk about all of that here today on the Soul Expansion Podcast. So welcome. I hope you're, settling into your day, or maybe you're on the way to work, or wherever you are. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling safe. I hope you're feeling connected. And I'm celebrating you for listening to this today. I'm so glad that you're here. So when it comes to masculine and feminine energies, the first thing I want you to understand, and this may be review for you, but for some of you, this may be the first time you're hearing about it, is it doesn't matter what your gender is biologically or what you identify with as a gender. We all have masculine and feminine energies. Our partners have masculine and feminine energies. Our pets have masculine and feminine energies. And this is a concept that has been explored in different cultures and talked about in different cultures for centuries. It's the Chinese yin and yang. It's the different masculine and feminine energies that are described in Buddhist philosophies. It's the different energies that are described in Hindu philosophies and traditions, African traditions, Mayan traditions. There's really a lot of cultures that recognize that there's two distinct energies that we can operate in. So obviously I did not invent this concept, and it's also not that uncommon. It is pretty widespread, which tells us a lot, right? If lots of different cultures recognize that this exists, then maybe it's worth paying attention to. And it is worth paying attention to. So I want to talk about first what it looks like when you are in a wounded masculine or feminine state. So you can just kind of like sense where you're at right now. And then we'll move on to strategies for shifting into the divine, shifting into the aligned masculine and feminine energies, because it really can create so much freedom, so much opportunity. It can allow you to attract and receive a lot more money, to grow your business faster with more ease and grace and joy. So there's a lot of benefit to be had when we pay attention to these different energies and when we seek to balance them out and stay in the divine aligned state that they each possess. So when you're in your wounded feminine, we'll start there. It can feel very much like you're waiting to be rescued, like you are wanting the universe to shower you with gifts, but you're almost in this state of like helplessness, right? You're in this state of feeling like the universe owes you something, and you can become very almost like unable to take action because you're in this state of waiting to be rescued. You can feel very insecure in your business and in your life. You can feel like you have a lot of imposter syndrome, or like people don't really look up to you as a leader. You can also feel kind of needy, and there's almost like this energy of like codependence. So, again, kind of like waiting to be rescued, like not being able to be independent, relying on the universe or some external force, or even feeling like personally attacked by the algorithm, for example, on Instagram, and feeling like the algorithm is out to get you, and getting into this state of feeling like there's nothing you can do to fix your situation. Those are some signs that you may be in your wounded feminine. And it's important that if you're hearing yourself in, or you're seeing yourself in this description, it's important to be very compassionate and loving toward yourself, because you're not doing anything wrong, right? Like, you are human. You may not have had the awareness that this is where you were at, and that's okay. And it's also not wrong or bad, or, you know, it doesn't make you a bad person to be in your wounded feminine. You are still worthy. You are still beautiful. You are still amazing. You are still capable of so many incredible things. And you are still, a human worthy of love and respect, right? So if you notice that you're in some of these wounded energies, I want you to be really loving and compassionate with yourself, because all we're doing right now is we're expanding your awareness of where you're at, so that if you choose, you can make a change. But either way, you are still so worthy, so valuable, so amazing, no matter where you're at on the spectrum. So I just think it's important to recognize that, because sometimes when we expand our awareness and we see, okay, here's an opportunity for me to improve, then we get really down on ourselves and we beat ourselves up for not knowing it sooner or for being that way. And we can only, improve based on where we're at, and we have to love where we're at, and we have to be so compassionate with those vulnerable parts of ourselves. Otherwise, we can't change effectively or sustainably. Change only comes when we feel safe, love, and connected to ourselves. If we beat ourselves up, we slow down the process of change. So, wounded feminine, very much in that insecure, needy, waiting to be rescued. You may also feel like overly emotional, like any one thing can set you off and make you feel like the whole world is crashing down. And again, this is also not a replacement for like mental illness support. So those things can also come in play when you have a mental illness. So always make sure you're getting that checked out as well. But if you're noticing this with respect to your business, that's something to look at. Like, okay, maybe I'm kind of in this wounded feminine state. How can I start to shift out of that? And we'll talk about that in a moment. I also want to talk about the wounded masculine state. So maybe the wounded feminine, you were like, no, that is not where I'm at. And maybe you felt really superior since you're not waiting to be rescued. You're, on top of the world. You're going after what you want. Maybe you're feeling that you are trying to control things, and you're large and in charge of the things you're trying to get done in your business. Maybe you're feeling competitive, maybe you're feeling workaholic, maybe you're feeling like you're avoiding your emotions. Maybe you're feeling kind of withdrawn because you're so head down in your business, doing, 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 doing. So that's kind of the wounded masculine energy, where it really is seen a lot from my perspective in the coaching industry. I was very much in my wounded masculine for the first year of my business. So I was very competitive, completely disconnected from my heart. So not very compassionate toward others. I was also very unstable. So any one thing could kind of like light my fuse, so to speak, or set my fuse off. I forget the phrase. But I was very much in this controlling, aggressive, competitive, get things done, fight my way to the top kind of vibe. And that is the wounded masculine. So you can see how this can really play a big role in your emotional well-being, in your ability to grow your business sustainably if you're in these wounded masculine and feminine states, because you're not operating at 100%. You're not operating as the best, highest version of yourself. And so that's why it's so beautiful when we learn about this and we can start to shift into the divine version of the masculine and feminine energies. And what does that look like? Well, let's start with the feminine again. So, when you're in the wounded, you're kind of waiting to be rescued. But when you're in the divine feminine, you are open to receive, you are creative, you are expressive, you have compassion, you're magnetic, you're strong, you have beautiful boundaries, you're in your being, your beingness. You're very much in touch with your intuition, right? Like you're connected to your body, to your energy, to your soul. And you're kind of like flowing through life effortlessly, like you're flowing like waves in the ocean, or like, I don't know if you've ever been in one of those lazy rivers where you just get on an inner tube and then you just like relax and hang out, and then it's a man-made river that runs in a loop, and you just gently flow with the lazy river. And you're just enjoying yourself, flowing through life, completely surrendered, knowing that you are supported. I mean, just from that description, doesn't that feel good? And if you feel attacked, that's something to recognize as well. If hearing that description made you feel like that's not how we should do things, or I can't have that, or that's okay for this person but not for me, invitation to explore those reactions, because there's something there, right, that needs your attention. But if that sounded good to you, if the divine feminine energy sounded good and appealing to you, then some ways you can start to cultivate it and to bring it out are by really working on loving and trusting yourself. So much of being in your divine feminine is like owning who you are, all of your flaws, even celebrating your flaws, and just feeling like that badass boss bitch who just attracts things with her energy. And that comes from self-love, right? Like we can't be in this state of knowing that we are so magnetic and feeling so effortless in life and surrendered because we know we are worthy of everything we desire. We can't be in that state of embodied worthiness, of embodied magnetism, if we don't love ourselves. And that's a journey, right? It took me, I mean, I'm still working on it. I don't think we can ever get to this place where, and maybe we can, but I think there's layers to it, right? It's not about getting to this destination of like, oh, I love myself always and forever. It's a constant reminding ourselves. It's reminding ourselves that we get to love ourselves. And that's enough, right? If we love ourselves, if you love you, and if you honor the fact that you love you, and that's your biggest priority is you loving you and taking care of you and honoring you, then you get to show up so much more powerfully for everyone else, right? If you are a coach or a healer that is tired of chasing after leads, tired of worrying about where your money's going to come from each month, and tired of using sleazy sales tactics that make you feel icky and make your audience feel icky, I have just the thing for you. So after working with over 100 coaches and healers, and also after observing what happened in my own business scaling journey, I realized that there is a massive upper limit to complicated strategies. And what I found was you don't really need complicated strategies to be able to market and sell your programs. At the end of the day, all you need are basic marketing and sales skills, and then it comes down to your energy and your mindset. And Divine Feminine Sales has you covered on all three. And honestly, the biggest thing I've learned about sales is when you are able to tap into this divine feminine energy that we all have inside of ourselves, regardless of how you identify or what your biological gender is, when we're able to tap into our divine feminine energy, you become a truly magnetic force for your soulmate clients. They can't help but be magnetized to you and to want to be in your energy and to join your programs. It's like being the host of the hottest party of the season that everyone wants an invitation to, except that party is your program, right? And how cool would it be to be in this place where you can just magnetically attract people and have those I want to work with you DMs every single day. All of this is possible for you when you join Divine Feminine Sales, and I have a special offer for you. If you'd like to try Module 1 of Divine Feminine Sales, you can do so for only $55. That's right, you can try Module 1 for only $55 at trydivine.com. And if you decide that you totally love Module 1 and you want to upgrade to the full program where you get live calls with me as well as Facebook group support, you can apply that same $55 to your full enrollment. How cool is that? So give us a try at trydivine.com. You will love Module 1. I take you through my offer creation framework, and you get to keep forever access to that. So that in and of itself is way, way, way worth the $55. Let's be real. Go to trydivine.com and let me know on Instagram if you sign up. I would love to celebrate you. All right, now back to the show. I know for me, there was a moment about a year ago where I actually had a realization, and it was like eyes wide open, like forever changed me. I had a realization that I hated myself. That's no longer true. I've done a lot of inner work. But it was so obvious to me. I even, the mentor I was working with at the time, I remember telling her, like, I don't know if it's possible for me to love myself because I hate myself so deeply. So that's kind of the extreme end of the spectrum. And the reason why I hated myself in that moment was because I had been in an emotionally abusive relationship before I met my fiance, and I had a lot of blame and shame on myself for that. I felt responsible for it. I felt like I had attracted it. I felt like it was my fault. I felt damaged. I felt broken. And I was also really angry with myself for getting into that situation, right? So I had a lot to work through there, but that's where it came from. And so if you are finding it hard to tap into your divine feminine where you feel worthy and abundant and open to receive, and like you're flowing through your business effortlessly and you're so creative, you're so lit up by what you're doing, and you're trusting that the money is going to come, the clients are going to come, and you're feeling so strong and like you have these beautiful boundaries and you're in touch with your intuition, if you're feeling like that's really hard for you to access, start with your relationship to yourself. How do you love yourself, if at all? Are you loving yourself? And I don't mean like loving yourself, like checking the box, getting the manicure to say that you love yourself and take care of yourself. I mean, when no one's watching, when no one's looking, when you're alone with your thoughts, are you able to deeply love yourself in your entirety? Or are there things about yourself that you don't love and that you would like to change? That's something to explore, maybe something to meditate on this week. If something in your system is saying, let's look at this deeper. But I want to shift gears here and talk more about the divine masculine. So the wounded masculine, again, it's kind of like that doing, workaholic, too competitive, kind of unstable, detached from emotions, control freak type of vibe. That's the wounded masculine. So as we want to shift into the divine masculine, what does that look like? It's deeply present. So if you're a coach or a healer, when you're with a client, being in your divine masculine is so powerful. Deeply present, doesn't judge, supportive, focused, has integrity, boundaries, offers stability, security, is responsible, has discipline, is confident, holds himself accountable or herself accountable. These are such beautiful qualities to bring as a coach or healer for your clients who may be in their wounded masculine or wounded feminine energies when they come to session, or even if they're not in those wounded states, they're working through something vulnerable. So they need someone who's deeply connected to them, deeply present with them, able to hold them and support them through whatever it is they're processing at that point in time. And while the divine feminine kind of like flows through life effortlessly and things just come to her because she's so open and receptive to them, the divine masculine gives that sense of structure, that container, the riverbeds, if you will, for the river to flow. So you do need both. I have a program called Divine Feminine Sales, not because you don't need the divine masculine, but just because I find that in my industry, in our industry in particular, so many people are stuck in either the wounded masculine or the wounded feminine. And like stepping into the divine masculine becomes a lot easier when we start to cultivate the divine feminine. I find that's my personal experience, but I teach both, right? I encourage my clients to cultivate both. And when you are really in alignment with both of these energies, you get to this place of a divine sacred union between the two, where your masculine, your divine masculine, is holding and guiding the divine feminine, who is open and flowing, and it's all a beautiful dance between the two. If you're wondering, how can I cultivate my divine masculine more? How can I shift into that more? A lot of that comes from radical personal responsibility and also detachment, right? So when we're trying to control things too much, we're more in the wounded state. And also, if we're so far on the other end of the spectrum where we're just waiting for someone to save us, we're in the wounded feminine state. So, taking radical personal responsibility, getting comfortable with taking bigger responsibilities, with holding more, and also being able to take responsibility without having to control, with still allowing things to unfold. That's how you can start to shift into that divine masculine. And then to shift into that sacred union between the two, you want to be cultivating both of these energies as much as you possibly can. So, what I like to do, what sets me up for success, is starting my day with divine feminine work. And that could look like, doing something for pure pleasure, like enjoying my coffee, listening to a podcast. That could look like, doing some nice yoga to wake up my system nice and gently. That could look like sitting in contemplative thought, just letting my mind wander and letting inspiration come. It could look like lighting a beautiful candle, smelling something that just makes me feel luxurious. It could look like just cuddling on the couch with my dog and petting him and experiencing his energy and just being present in the present moment. I like to start my day that way. And then I do the doing part of my business. So the feminine is a lot more about the being, the presence, the flowing, the spontaneity, the creativity, the expression. The masculine's a lot more about the action, the structure, right? And so I like to start my day in the feminine, so that carries through as I start to take action in my business. So I'm already primed. I essentially prime my system by doing lots of work on the divine feminine side in the morning. I prime my system to be creative and to be in this state of pleasure and to be in this state of openness. So when I do take action, it's not from this place of control or comparison or I got to do to receive, right? I allow myself to receive in the morning. I set myself up for success, my system up for success by cultivating that in the morning so that every action I take throughout the day comes from this beautiful aligned space. And you'll notice morning routines are so potent and so powerful. You'll notice if you start to incorporate more beingness, more presence, more feminine, divine feminine energy work in the morning, you'll notice that every action you take throughout the day has more impact, is more in alignment, is leading toward what you want to call in and manifest in a more effortless way, right? So, if you're curious about how to go on this deeper, there's so much information online about this, but I also do work with this in my Divine Feminine Sales program. We talk a lot about shifting into your divine feminine energy because think about it. If you are in your feminine, you're flowing, you're creative, like how easy would it be to create content for your business, to come up with ideas for what to offer next? You're surrendered. How much easier would it be to attract money in that state? You're magnetic, you're attractive, you're just this beautiful goddess that people flock to. How much easier would it be to attract clients when you're in that state? It's powerful. It's potent. It's very real too. I see it. I call it, I actually have a word for this that goes beyond the energies, but this may kind of solidify this concept for you. I call it vacation vibes because think of how your energy is when you're on vacation. You're not worried about your business. You're not, attached to your computer. You may post a thing or two if you feel like it, but you're not really trying to micromanage things. You're a lot more open, a lot more flowy. You expect to receive pleasure. You expect to receive good things. And I've noticed when I am in my vacation vibes, when I go on vacation, I always make more money. I attract more clients and I receive more money. And so if you're having trouble accessing the divine feminine, maybe that's another exercise for you to think about doing is, how do I feel on vacation? How can I bring those vacation vibes into my everyday life? So I hope you like this episode. And if you did, definitely give me a shout on stories. Tag me. I'm at Kristen Kaczynski. And in my next episode, we're going to be talking about how to attract and manifest soulmate clients. So we've talked about attracting and receiving money. We've talked about how when you're in your feminine, you can start to attract people like a magnet. Now we're going to get a little more specific in the next episode about how to specifically attract soulmate clients. So I hope you're excited. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for honoring your soul's calling today and taking the time to listen to this episode of the Soul Expansion Podcast. If you have a question you'd like featured or have a topic idea, I would love to hear from you. Find me on Instagram at Kristen Kaczynski and send me a DM with your request. Remember, you are a truly limitless being. The limits you see now are only an illusion. Whatever it is that you desire, that's already yours. It already exists in the universe here and now. You simply have to awaken to what you already have. And I hope this episode brought you a little closer to that truth. If you love this episode and would like to give from your heart and appreciation, please take a few moments to screenshot it and tag me in your stories on Instagram, or write a brief review on your favorite podcast platform. Your voice truly matters, and your feedback helps to spread abundant expansion to a broader audience. And what a gift that is, right? Just think about how much abundance will come back to you if you help a friend experience their own soul expansion. And with that, I just want to say thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, I'm Kristen Kaczynski, and I love you.